One of the more powerful features of Yurbi is the ability to blend data together or to join data and combine it into a single data set from multiple databases or data sources. Inside the builder, and you look under actions, that's what the link reports feature will do. Now, before we use the link report features, we have to have every individual report that we want to link already created. For this video, I've taken the steps to do that. Under my private library, I've got a folder called Joins and Unions, and we're going to join two of these reports together, and then we'll come in and we'll do a union of two of these reports and show you the differences and talk about when you might use one or the other. When you're going to join reports together, this will be the first example we do. Essentially, there's a unique field in each report that has a relationship. So one use case, for example, I've got a sales data database. Let's go ahead and run this report that's giving me sales by month. So I've got January through December as a unique month entry. And in this case, I'm aggregating or summing up how much I did in sales for that particular month. So very two simple column report. And I also have another database I'm connected to, my help desk system, the tickets database. And if I run this report, I've got how many tickets I opened by month. So between these two reports, I have a common field that we can do a join across, month name. Other examples, you might have different databases where you have a customer ID that is the same, or an asset number, or a ticket number. The key is you want to have a unique field in both of these reports, and the join process is going to tie these two reports together by this unique field and essentially add the other reports columns inside with this column. So what our output result will be from this join process, we're going to have month name, we'll have the number of tickets, and then we'll also have a column that represents the sales for that month. Why would we want to do that? Well, then we can take that report, that data set, and create charts and all sorts of formulas and things like that, doing custom metrics like take the number of sales divided by the number of tickets and have maybe a revenue by ticket cost metric. Now, to start with, now that I've got my two reports created, we want to first open up one of these reports. I'm going to open up the sales report and say edit. And that's going to bring that back into the builder, and you'll get a little idea of how we created that. Just month name, we added a sum on sales, and then we added a hidden field to apply the sort order. Now that I've got this save report, I can go to my actions and I can say, let's link this report with another report. And in this particular case, I'm going to do a join. We'll go over union next. I'm going to go to a private folder. And since I'm in the sales report, I'm going to join it with the tickets report. And I'll select my link in this case as a join. And now I have the ability to tell Yurbi which fields have that unique identifier that I'm building the relationship on. In this case, it's month name, and in report number 2, it's also labeled as month name. Now I do have the ability to pick my join type here. Left join typically is going to be fine, but if you're doing some things where you only want the common elements within a report, then that might be the inner join. If you want everything, even if there's not a unique match, then that's going to be the outer join. So you can experiment with the join types if you're not getting the result that you're expecting. I'm going to hit finish, and you'll see that'll bring me back where I can repeat this process. So I can go through and add multiple reports here. Just keep in mind that ultimately every time I add a report, that's going to add more execution time to the end result data set. Now, once I close this down, you'll see that initially when you're doing a join report, the preview panel will give you this red bar. Essentially what I have to do before I can start to preview and work on this report is I've got to save this report. And you have two options. You could overwrite the existing report. If you do that, you're modifying the original report, which was the sales by month that we created. What I prefer to do is do a save as, and I'm going to make a brand new report, and I'm going to call it sales and tickets by month. And this keeps things easily organized within your library. Keep in mind that if you do go out and you move this report or copy it, or if you start to put permissions on it, individuals have to have permissions to all three reports in this case, the two source reports and our resulting report. And you'll see that by saving that, now I've got my desired report by month name. I have a column representing my sales, a column representing the number of tickets, and these are coming from separate databases at that point, building me one common data set that I could then go in and use features of or leverage this in the virtual app, which we'll cover in a later video. So that's the join process. Now let's talk about union. Let's go back to our library and take a look at the two reports we created for the union example. Now with a union, what we're doing is essentially just merging two different reports from a row perspective. With joins, we were adding columns. With unions, we're adding rows. So in this particular case, I've got a sales database that has a list of customer names. Let's run that report. You'll see that I've got customer name, first name, last name, and I've got about 2,823 records in the sales database. Then I have a help desk system that also has customer names. They could be completely different customer names. I've got different companies. I've got first name and last name, but you'll notice that, and there's 484, you'll notice the key is when I'm unioning data, I want to have a similar column structure between both reports. So in both of my reports, I have a company name, I have a first name, and I have a last name, even though they're coming from two different databases. They're similar, so we're going to union them together. Same concept, I'm going to go ahead and edit one of my reports. That'll bring it into the builder. I did the edit on the customer one. And then I'm going to go into my link reports action. And this time I'm going to add a new, and I'm going to pick my support customer name report. I'm going to designate this as a union versus a join. In the union, essentially I'm going to go through each column in the report and I'm going to map it to the corresponding column in the second report. So company matches customer. This is the data type. Customer is a text field, so I'm going to keep that as character. I'm going to repeat that process for first name. And again, first name is a character, so I'll leave that as a default. And I'm going to do the same thing for last name. So essentially I'm defining what every column is and what the relationship is between the reports. So you can see they don't have to be in the same order. You get the ability to pick that when you're defining the union. I'm going to hit finish, and you'll see I can again continue to build upon this and add more. But now you'll notice that when I run this report, and this one is a little different, you don't have to say the preview panel will come up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this as a new report just as a best practice as we did before. I'm going to change it to be all customer names at this point, and I'll put it in that same folder. And the same concept applies if I were to copy this report or do anything like that. My two source reports also need to be available and have the correct permissions. But now when I go view full screen on that, before it was about 2,800 records and about 480. Now you'll notice I've got 3,307. I've combined those two reports into one, and now I have customers and names from all my sales and my support system integrated. So that's the concept of data blending. And then once you have this saved as a report, as I mentioned, there's a lot you could do with it that we'll cover in later videos, from creating something like a combo chart or starting to bring it into the advanced app so that we can use that as our data source versus an individual database. If you have any questions, just reach out to us at support@yurbi.com.